I thought I'd go over my dust collection real quick and give you some tips and hints if you're changing yours or putting in a new one. One of the things is to stay away from the really tight 90s. Here's an example of a sweep 90, and this is the sewer and sewer pipe stuff from the big box stores you can get. Notice between this fitting and this fitting here, there's space in here. There's area. In the tight 90s, there's none. This will actually be touching this. It'll just be very, very tight, and that cuts down on your suction because it all kind of comes to a stop and then shoots up the other way. I don't know how much. I think I'm going to find out because I have a dust collection monitor I'm working on that will tell the vacuum pressure, and I think by changing out some of my tight 90s I'll be able to see how that changes and hopefully get more vacuum pressure. What's frustrating to me though is when you're ordering this stuff online or whatever, you really don't know what you're going to get, and it's always different sizes. From the big box store, the sewer pipe stuff, and this is the very lightweight stuff, and the sewer pipe is very lightweight, and you don't really need heavy duty stuff. You don't have that much vacuum going on. But this is a 4-inch, so if you measure this, it's 4.2 inch. So I ordered something and I thought it was going to be a little bigger sweep. This was also labeled as sewer pipe, PVC, but this is 4.5 inches. So that doesn't really work, and you just end up with stuff that you just can't use, or you have to return, and I don't know. This is a little bigger sweep here though. You've got a little bigger area, and if you hold these up, like at the bottom in the same area, you can see that this top is over this way more, so it's a bigger sweep. So that keeps it going better. You can also use two 45s, and don't put them right together. If you have it coming up here in a 45, put the other 45 up here and have a straight pipe so it can keep the acceleration of the chips and the flow going better. I got a used jet dust collector that had the bags. I ended up, after reading that the bags just leak all the little small particles out, which are the worst for your lungs, I went ahead and changed that out for a cartridge. I'll have links down below of where I got that from this Win corporation or company, and that's been working great for me. All I had to do was make a kind of a plywood ring that fit on top of my jet dust collector with the opening, and then the cartridge fits on top of the plywood ring since it didn't really fit on the jet directly. And then they had some clamps that with the hooks on the end that go up and hook onto the cartridge and hook onto the dust collector. 3 of those that you can twist and tighten up, and it worked awesome. They were very nice, very helpful. I got the filter that has the best filtering for the tiny particles, so it's a little more expensive, but I think well worth it. I do have a thin trash can separator before it goes to the jet dust collector to try to separate out most of the stuff, and that does an excellent job. The only stuff I get over in the jet dust collector is when my garbage can gets full and then the chips start going over there, and it does go to the bottom bag. Otherwise I just get a lot of fine particles that do eventually clog up the cartridge filter. The thin separators you can make yourself. That's what I did with the trash can. I put it in the lid. There's some really good articles on how to build those out there on YouTube, so you can look those up, or I'll try to find one and put a link in the description below too. I'll have a few parts that I used in the description below, some links, but for the most part I got a lot of this stuff years ago, and because everything's always a different size, I'm just going to leave that up to you to figure out what's going to fit and what's not, because these, this big one here, this one actually goes in this one, It's not, I was hoping it would be the same size. Here's an example of one of the longer sweep 90s here that I've changed out on my dust collection. This used to be a tight 90, so theoretically I should be getting a little better suction there. And I have a few more of these to replace also. Here's an example of one of the tight 90s that I'm going to be replacing, where there's just no room at all, you know, no sweep to it between the two connector fittings. The flexible pipe does add more friction, so that also lessens the vacuum pressure you're going to be getting. So try to keep those runs as minimal as possible, and also keep it as straight as possible as you can, so that you're not adding a bunch of sharp 90s in the flexible stuff too. Here's my jet dust collector. It has a plastic bag now on the bottom, which is what the Win company gives you when you get the cartridge filters. And then there's the plywood on the bottom of the cartridge filter that I had cut out and made for this, and it has a little rubber gasket that the filter sets on. And then there's the filter, and it's been working great. Here's one of my metal gates. These work really nicely. The one thing to watch out for that I didn't know, and I had half of mine wrong because I didn't know, the bottom part goes to the tool, so the top, all the chips are going up. One thing is, if you put this knob on the wrong side, when you tighten this up when it's closed, there's a little bit of play up and down in the gate. If the knob was up here and you tightened it up, it would push the gate down away from the suction part, causing a gap, and air gets through there, and each one of them that you have reversed is losing a little bit of air. Having the screw down here, when you tighten it, pushes the gate up also and seals that tight. I also have the jet air filtration system up on the ceiling to help get the dust that's in the air already. This works great if I'm sanding, or sometimes on the table saw. It doesn't always suck up all of it depending on what I'm doing. It can eject a lot of sawdust too. So this thing works great. Has a little remote control. Blows a ton of air through there. So I highly recommend something like this. They say that even if you don't have allergies, the more you get exposed to the wood dust, it can get you an allergy to it. And so it kind of ruined your whole hobby if you couldn't do it anymore because of the dust. It was causing severe allergy problems. So it's better to wear masks and have this, you know, dust collection and air filter stuff right from the start before you have problems. This is the outlet side of my air filtration system, and there's the remote control. I can just turn that on. This is the remote to my jet dust collector. I think this came with it originally. I got it used, and this is what came with it, and I read that they come with them, so I don't know, but this was from a long time ago, so I don't know what they still sell now. One thing about these is I found out it's not good to leave your dust collector on and just go hoping that this isn't going to turn it on, because somehow it gets a stray radio signal or something and it will just pop on during the night, and I come out in the morning and it's running, and you know, that's just not a good thing. I'm almost finished with my Arduino dust collection monitor. I'll have a video on that coming hopefully soon. You might want to subscribe if you want to get notified when that's coming out. It's going to keep track of the pressure inside the cartridge filter. So as that gets dirtier and dirtier, the pressure builds up in there. If it's new or you just cleaned it, the air just kind of goes out, and the pressure inside is going to be very little. I've already noticed it's right now 0.003 psi when I have the system on, so that's after cleaning it just recently. I'm going to have a vacuum pressure sensor and a sensor on the motor itself, so I can tell when it's off and on and how many amps it's taking. So let's mainly to help tell when it's time to clean the filter before you start having problems, before the machines start clogging up with chips and before my trash can collector clogs up and all that. If it can tell me ahead of time, hey, it's time to clean the filter, I thought that'd be kind of fun to do. And with the Arduino, I'm a programmer, so it's kind of fun to program that. So I'm going to make that available, and that will be coming soon. So it's kind of cool. And then the other thing I'm going to do right after that is I'm going to automate the desk gates, and each tool will have an amperage sensor on it. So when you turn the tool on, all the dust gates are going to go to that position for that particular tool, and the dust collection system will turn on automatically. Well, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe.